say good morning once again to the entire trial estate, Grenada, Caribbean, Cooper, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Tuned in to K105. We say good morning to you. Let me say good morning also to our viewers via GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channels 20. Good morning to you. Welcome and sign up the Mid-Morning Buzz. GT with you this morning. And we do have a special guest with us this morning, and we'll go by the name of Mr. Johneil Mitchell. I'm going to say good morning to him. And he's the curriculum officer with responsibility for mathematics via the Ministry of Education. Let's go over and say good morning to Mr. Johneil. Mr. Johneil, good morning and welcome to the Mid-Morning Buzz. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning, Gary, and indeed it's a pleasure. Good morning to the listening public, wherever you are, whatever platform. I'm wonderful, and it's indeed a privilege to be a part of this morning's discussion, even as we culminate the whole aspect of Child Month.
Yep.
Not forgetting the child, nor what we can do as individuals to support learning on a whole. So I'm privileged, I'm happy to be a part of this morning's program, this morning's discussion, as we continue to chart the way ahead for the development of all of our children in the nation. All
right. Well, we know today is the final day in terms of most of the activities that was carded for Child's Month. And it's GT and not Gary. You doesn't mind, Gary's part of the GBN family, but nevertheless, it's GT this morning.
Sorry.
No problem with that. No problem with that. And as I was saying, today being the final day for the month of October, and we saw lots of activities that was held, in terms of for Child Month this year. From your perspective, how was the activities before we get into more discussion, what we're going to be talking about this month? How were some of the activities, if you want to give us a bit of a summary on it from your vantage point, if that is okay?
Yes, from my vantage point, what I've seen, it's been overwhelming in the sense that the level of awareness I have seen taking place, and I'm not only talking among students, but adult involvement in what has been taking place throughout the month. It's been wonderful. You saw parents, workers, teachers, wherever they were supporting the initiative of Child Month. You saw the wearing of the t-shirts. You saw them along the marches. You saw the children and how excited they were. And I believe this level of awareness should be something that we should continue. This is something that we should continue not only when the month comes, but it is an initiative that from time to time I firmly believe we should bring to the fore the whole aspect of children and their importance to society. So many a times we take it for granted, but these are the young men and the young women who will be shaping our world in time to come. So we need to continue supporting them. So for this month, what I have seen, the level of support, the initiatives that's been taken, the number of media appearances that I've seen and listened to throughout the month, put on by the Ministry of Education and other entities. I believe it's been wonderful so far.
Would you say that the Child Month activities has continued to grow over the years? And from your perspective, if you are able to chime in on that, would you like to see what difference would you like to see being showcased during Child Month that is not being showcased at all over the years?
Now, I would love to believe that there is greater awareness. From where I sit, many parents have been contacting me, for example, and saying, where can I access t-shirts? And when you put them onto the individuals or the suppliers, you hear the supplier saying, we do not have any more. So that alone is saying to you that it has grown, because prior to now, they were accustomed to having a certain amount ready for the market. Mm-hmm. And more you see people wanting to be more involved in the activities. Now, from where I sit, if we were to probably have something different, I would say greater use of our media houses, mm-hmm. where we have our children, not only the traditional marches and the awareness through that, great, excellent, but platforms like these where we can have our children expressing themselves through varying means as to career paths, the choices, having discussions among themselves with someone narrating that discussion as to what the perspectives from a child's eyes, what they think, what they believe, giving them opportunities to sit in your chair, even your chair one day, to carry out interviews or to read the news. These are the things I want to see our children become more and more exposed to more and more social issues, things that are happening around them. Because too many times we take it for granted that they do not know. But you might be surprised, GT, the amount of things that we can get from our children.
I would certainly agree with you with that. Because sometimes it's not always what you tell them to do, but sometimes getting them involved can bring out that aspect about themselves that they would like to portray. And sometimes if the youngsters get the opportunity to really show their true colors in this day and age, you know what they will certainly do. You understand?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You know. So one of our main topics of discussion this morning is parenting support. All right, because we know from time to time you did mention in your initial, of course, statement that you were happy to see how parents participated in most of the activities and getting their sons and daughters the T-shirts and even participating in various discussion events that you may have had pertaining to Child Month. But parenting support in the learning of mathematics at home. Tell us something about that you would like to see how parents could support their children more in that aspect.
When you look at math, we understand and we keep hearing about the challenges that we're having in mathematics. Many times, the learning of mathematics is left up to the classroom teacher. And yes, as a teacher, it is your duty to equip that child with many strategies. And I always have that saying to my teachers whenever I visit them. I said, listen to me, your job here is to teach that child. And if that child comes to you 20 times and says, sir or miss, I do not understand, it is your duty to find 20 different strategies to work with that child. Because I believe that there is a way in which every child can learn a particular concept. It's a matter of how we teach that concept and the strategies we use for the understanding of that concept. Having said all of this, though, I believe that parents play a major role in creating experiences that are going to support what is happening in the classroom. When we grew up, one of the things that I knew, our parents involved us in a lot of things that was happening in the kitchen, in the home, shopping. And we may have seen it as something as simple. You see, I'm not saying that the parent should be doing the job of the teacher. Let us look at classic example. We're dealing with younger children. There's a concept that our grandparents used when they didn't have a scale. The concept of hefting. Mm-hmm. So they got a 2 pound something, a 2 pound of sugar, and they wanted to go sell the corn flour. We're in all sales. Asham and corn and everything is grinding like crazy now. But they didn't have a scale. So what did they do? They took 2 pounds of sugar and they poured the corn flour into that bag, and you see them hefted. They're trying to get that kind of balance and estimation. Simple things like that. You might be surprised how much it is going to go a long way in helping the child understand the relative weight of something. We're quick to say to the children, boy, stop playing in the dust. Oh, girl, why are you doing that? What is so wrong? We have a scale or something like that again. We take sand. We want half pound of sand, right? We let them put half pound of sand. We take some gravel, some stones, or we take feathers and letting them see that the relative size of a material doesn't necessarily mean that the mass, the weight of that material is the same. But yet for all, based on the amount, you can get that weight. We're getting them involved. You are cooking. Let's go to the kitchen. Why then, GT? When parents are cooking, you say, okay, we're putting the rice in the pot. I'm putting about a cup of rice in the pot. How much water do I need to put? Isn't that measurement in a particular way?
So true.
The child knowing how much rice to water.
So true.
Why then, when I'm also cooking, do I put the fire high up or I lower it down? Aren't we doing temperature with the rates, with heat? So you see, the role of the parents in the learning of mathematics, it's important. We say that math is real life. And math should not be taught in isolation. So can you imagine a child coming from a home with all that experiential background into the classroom, and know that teacher grabs on to that experience that the child has? Are you seeing the wonders that can happen in the classroom? And this is what I'm talking about, supporting children at home when it comes to the teaching of mathematics.
I will chime in here to say that, sometimes a behavior of a child at home may be different in school. And a behavior of how a child behaves at school also will be different at home. So sometimes meshing both of them together could aid. So imagine a parent knowing how their son or daughter behaves when they do certain things at home in terms of their learning experience. They may be a little bit restless at home doing it, but at school they may be quiet. You understand? And let's say that in terms of when you're doing the mathematical things at home, as you mentioned, some of the small issues of helping out in the kitchen and so forth, and by a child getting into that, getting involved in that at that level, could certainly make a difference for them when they're at school doing whatever they're doing.
Definitely. You see, too many times we divorce what's happening at school from the home. Too many times we divorce math from the real world. One of the classic examples I normally give. Now, a parent is at home. The child needs a passport. You do not have a measuring tape. On the passport, they always ask us for our heights, right?
Yep.
You have the 12 by 12 tiles in your house. You're going to tell me that you cannot tell me the height of the child? What is so wrong with putting the child lie down across the tiles and you come to 1 tile, 2, 3, 4, 5? Isn't that approximately 5 feet already?
Yes.
Halfway.
Yes.
5 feet 6 inches. Isn't that math at the home? Isn't that child learning to apply what's at the home in real life situations to get a solution in mathematics? One of the issues that we face with math is an attitude towards it. Our children tell you, and you often hear them, "Oh, I don't like maths now." Why is it you don't like it? Because we have not instilled the love of mathematics inside of them. And in order to instill the love of mathematics, we have to make the teaching and the learning of math real. We have to make it real. And this is how I've learned it. Math is all around us. You're in your house, you're seeing things on angles, you're seeing measurements. You can take it there. As I said, you go into the kitchen, you can take it there. You're talking about children at the kindergarten grade 1 level, because you see that foundation is very important. You're talking about relative size, how big or how small. Let's compare things, how short or how long. You get our children to understand those things, and then now, that child comes into my classroom as a teacher. As I said before, you take that experience and you bring it now to the real application of mathematics to show how the both of them come together. So I believe that the role of the parent when it comes to the learning of math is important. That support structure. Let's go to the supermarket together. You give them monies to spend. So when they go to the supermarket, it's not a matter of they looking on the shelf only GT and saying, "Mommy, can you get this for me?" or "Daddy, can you get this for me?" But I am giving you $5. This $5 should be able to buy X amount. This is what you want. You get them to calculate and estimate as they go along. You equip them with those kind of strategies. Money is something we cannot run away from for the rest of our lives, right?
So true.
So I'm saying, let us support.
When you put the real life situation into it right now, and you compare it, it is important, as you were saying, and I'm gasping your conversation where you're going at with this. Involving real life situation is definitely important. In terms of in building that memory, one, it helps with the memory, because when your sons or daughter at home do things and you involve the real life situation in terms of math, and you said, "Hey, reach me 2 pans or 1 bottle and stuff like that," it helps to develop the memory. You understand? Which brings in the real life situation at home that involves mathematics, education.
Yeah, we underestimate the importance of these basic things. And as you so rightly said, something, people often say, there's a saying that practice brings what? Permanent? Practice makes perfect? Mm-hmm. No, we say practice makes permanence.
Yes.
permanence. And as you say, it enhances the memory because of these experiences I have now garnered at home, and I can bring them together. It builds within me a structure, a foundation that I can now build upon.
Yep.
Now, again, too many times you see a divorce between what's happening in the classroom and what's happening at home. I've also said to our parents, how can you support your child? You need to be involved in your child's learning by simply being one who's accessible. Make yourself accessible to the teacher. No teacher cannot say to you, or should not be able to say to you as a parent, I am not seeing you, or I can't reach you. There is nothing wrong. You do not have to wait for PTC to understand what's happening. Your child comes home with a particular concept that he or she is not understanding, and you are the parent, as a parent, you're not getting it. What should you do? Shouldn't you also reach out to the teacher and say, hey, you've given this to my child, can you give some more support in that area so that the child can understand it better? Because I really can't help. But you are indeed helping by you reaching out. This is another way we can support. Too many times we leave it, and when the child comes home with that report and the report shows something that we do not like, that's when we start to wonder, well, what has the teacher been doing? But remember, if a child doesn't understand a concept early, which is required for the learning of other concepts down the road, don't expect magic to happen in an exam when it is given down the road.
So parental involvement is critical. It's critical in terms of your child learning. And it's not only based on mathematical, but in the overall learning of a child, we would say also.
Overall learning of a child, definitely. But we also do not want to divorce ourselves from reality, GT. There are some homes, sad to say, that may not have that kind of structure. And that's understood. While that complete structure may not be existing, what can happen, that parent who might be a single parent, as I said, what you can do, involve that child. Let that child assist you in many things that you are doing around the house. Ask questions of that child. Why is it when we're building the house, we put the columns in a vertical way? Use the terms, or why we put it standing up, as you would say. Why is it they should be at the same level in some places? Or why is it as I said, let's go back to the kitchen. Why is it when I put this in the freezer versus the cooling section of the refrigerator? Simple things like that, We're talking temperature. Based on the nature of the temperature in a freezer, versus the other part of the refrigerator, is going to cause it. If it's in a bottle, is what going to happen? It's going to expand, it's going to break. These are making connections, GT. It is important that we get our children going where connections can be made.
All right, man.
I don't know how often I will say it. This is something I keep preaching more and more to our teachers in our classroom, the importance of making connections when you're teaching. And so I want us to start taking those initiatives where we are going to take maths into the home. I must commend one school in particular. There was this school, they had what we call parent university. And in that parent university, every night, and they did it during the COVID period, and that was excellent. Every night, they had a different subject area, included math. And I remember doing a session, and in that session, we had over 80-something plus parents involved, and the conversations with real mathematics and making real life. And some of the parents even wrote in the chat, based on the things that we were sharing, the children were so excited. It's like, wow, I'm going to go try that now. It is a matter of getting them involved.
Talking about things that teachers will expect from parents, from your point of view, what are some of the things that teachers will expect from parents?
As I said before, yes, teachers have expectations of parents. Teachers are understanding, and I want to say hats off to our teachers. Most of our teachers understand the situations at the homes, that the challenges that some parents are faced with. But all the teachers are asking parents to do is to work with them. How can a parent work with a teacher? The teacher gives home assignment. Yes, you might be coming home very late based on the nature of the job you're doing. All the teacher is asking you to do is to check your child. Son, daughter, have you completed your assignment? Do you understand what you're supposed to do? They're asking them to ensure that they get that level of reinforcement. Teachers expect of parents when they say, you know what? We want to have a PTC. Parents, I'm saying to you, those of you who are listening, don't say, well, I know him already. I know what the teacher is going to say. No, make yourselves available. Go out there to have that conversation with with your child's teacher. You might be surprised to see some of the things that you might be getting from the teacher, because the teacher might be able to say to you, I have been observing your child for a period of time, and these are the areas your child is doing well in. But these are the areas that your child needs extra help in. And you might be surprised, like, wow, he's doing well in that area. So what is that going to push you to do now as a parent? Continue to lend support. Expectations of teachers, send your child to school. Every child should be given the opportunity to be at school regularly. A day missed is a concept missed. A concept missed is an understanding that is not going to be gained. An understanding that is not going to be gained is going to affect how I treat a situation later down in life. So being a part of school is also important. And math is so dynamic. Math is something that is unique. That if you do miss a concept now and you don't understand it, when the teacher moves on to another concept where that foundation is needed, you're going to struggle. And if you have not grasped it now, don't expect yourself to learn it later down the road. So as parents, we need to be there with the school. School is not divorced from the home. And I want to say that again. School is not divorced from the home. They work together. They complement each other. So it is important as parents that we involve ourselves in our children's learning. We find out from them, what is it you did in math today? And I'm picking on math because this is the area I love most, and every aspect of education is important, but find out from the child, what is it you did in math? Did you understand? Can you tell me about it? Do you think we can take it and put it right in the home setting? These are the things. We know it's not going to happen overnight, but it is a culture that we have to continue to develop and instill. And that's where, as schools, we need to continue building. We need to change the format, and I'm going to make a bold statement, change the format of our PTAs. PTAs and PTCs is not just about giving children or giving our parents information, but create environment, be creative, where when a parent comes to a PTA, it is more than just getting information, but they are getting something to take home where they can really work with the children to better the children's performances. That's what we need to start doing right away.
When it comes, and one of my final questions I have with it, we come to the support structure at home, because this will also lead to the previous statements you were making in terms of fixing the structure of the PTA and stuff like that. Because there may be a parent that may have a strong point that has been taught in school, and for some, say for example, math, there may be a parent who has a particular degree in math and sends his son or daughter to school, and for some reason he may think, well, hey, I don't think my son is doing properly in math, even though I have that particular level of my education in math is at that level. And so being able to have that support structure at home where that parent could teach that son or daughter more, and you may find your son is achieving more than others in school. So the support structure at home is also very important in moving forward in helping that child, especially when it comes to, as we say, mathematics and even the overall learning of a child.
Very much so. And we cannot continue to re-emphasize the need for parents to be involved. One of the things you've made mention of there, and while you were talking to it, my mind started going a bit further. The whole aspect of community involvement. There was a time when we grew up where the community worked with the children. And I believe it is about time, likewise, because as I made mention of earlier, not every home may be the ideal home. And we cannot blind ourselves to that basic fact. There are homes, there are structures where parents are almost non-existent. And these children, they go to school, they come home, and they come back to that same kind of non-existent structure. So I believe even community groups can set up situations because, as I look around, and this is another social issue that I am hoping that the relevant persons are listening to. We have a number of community centers lying around our communities, but how effective are they? Why can't we set up structures where when a child comes from home, we engage the experts within our communities to work with these children? I know of some schools where retirees and people like that, where they come and they work with children after school. That's their way of giving back to the community. We also need those kind of structures in place, as I said, because not every child is exposed to the ideal, but we want to be able to reach every single student that we have. So this is another conversation, again, that we can be having somewhere down the road as to how the community can be also involved. Because remember, in a community, it's the same parents who make up the community. It's a church that makes up the community. So we can mesh and pull together to really see how well we can build not only a child, but also build a community and build a nation.
All right. So, Johneil, I want to thank you so much for sharing all the information you did this morning. I don't know if there's any final comment you'd like to make in terms of offering that encouragement, especially for parents who are home right now and listening to this conversation that we are having this morning, and enticing them to do more to help their sons and daughters in terms of moving forward in life. And not only, and we know we focus a lot on math, but there's a lot of other aspects where our parents could fill in and help the teacher and help their sons and daughters move. I know if there's any final comments you would like to make before we take a wrap this morning.
I just want to say thank you for the privilege, first of all, to be a part of this program as we share, as we continue to enlighten and continue to emphasize the need to support the child. It is something that we need to keep doing more and more for children that are in a vulnerable state, and they need our support, even as educators, as parents, and as communities. And I would just like to encourage parents, do not, in any way or the other, put our child away from what's happening in the home. When we grew up, we had responsibilities. We assisted in the kitchen. We assisted in the washing. We assisted in the cleaning. All of these basic principles, basic things at home, there was a very important lesson in it. We had chores before we went to school. So I needed to know that I need to complete my chores in half an hour's time. So we are teaching time and time management that we are now going to take to the classroom. So these basic things that we grew up on as parents, let's not divorce our children from it. Because I'm saying to us, that all of these are learning experiences that we want to give to our children so that they themselves can become better citizens. Our aim, ultimate aim, is to make better citizens, global citizens who are going to go out there and represent us. Where does it begin? It begins in the home. The home partnering with school, partnering with education to build a better nation. So I just want to thank you for that opportunity to just be a part of this program as we continue to celebrate the child.
I want to thank you once again, Mr. Johneil Mitchell, and want to wish you all the best, and certainly hope that Child Month 2023 we could see more participation from parents and as a whole, and from the community as a whole, more participation, and make it even better than it was this year. Until then, I want to wish you all the best, sir, and have a good day.
Thank you, and thank you.
All right. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for the Mid-Morning Buzz here on the K105 and GBN TV. Join us again for another edition. All the best, folks. Have a great day. That's where we say goodbye.
Get money where you are, almost anywhere you are, send money.